Yeah, as always, dollar, dollar, dollar. So things have started off the week pretty bearish for USD, of course, pretty bullish for the USD majors. If you haven't been on the streams for the past week or so, my bias has been very, very bullish for USD, and I'm expecting more of the same, of course, until proven otherwise. The way I'm looking at it is we've had a really strong breakout of the highs here in the past 2-3 weeks, and it looks like price has picked its direction, picks its trend potentially, and I'm expecting more of the same. As long as price doesn't come crashing back down, excuse me, crashing back down and break back underneath this zone here, that's when my longer term bias will change for USD, because of course at that point that becomes a big fake out, price now back below a key level. I'll expect a reaction and a continuation. So that's the only way I'll be longer term bearish with USD. But at the moment in time, it's a solid breakout. Price is trading well above this area resistance. So the next big level is well and truly this level up here at 113, 114. So that's where I'm expecting price to go. Of course, long way away, big target, could still take ages for us to get there, and I do expect it to. But that's kind of the direction I'm looking to trade USD in for the foreseeable future. So when I'm seeing moves like this to the downside, I'm looking at it as price having a pullback, finding the next higher low for a continuation. Now, if I move this out of the way, this is our last major swing low, which gave us the highs up here. So I still do like a possible pullback to this area here. But in terms of levels which could get respected equally, I would say that this consolidation here looks equally as good, probably even better in terms of the market coming into this area, finding a higher low and continuing to the upside. So that's really what I'm looking at for USD. Should we have a deeper pullback, 107 looks good as well. But I'm looking at this area as an area where buyers will be looking to get involved, and we could be seeing the next higher low form. And a lot of momentum in the past, at the end of last week, and I'm looking at that as a correction of that same move for price to put higher low in and continue back to highs, which is 109.4. And maybe we go and hit the next big psychological level, which is 110, just above us over there. So yeah, my bias is still pretty bullish with USD. So of course, taking that into consideration, looking at EURUSD and GBPUSD and all those guys, I'm expecting downside. So we've had a pretty big move to the upside, I have to admit, with Euro this morning. Really strong move on that last 4-hour candle closure. It did start off pretty correctively, the pullback, and then we kind of zipped to the upside with that last 4-hour candle close. So maybe a little bit more aggressive than I anticipated in terms of the pullback, but the direction for me is still very much to the downside with EURUSD. And if you haven't checked out my weekly analysis, feel free to go and do so. But the idea is that I'm looking for some more downside for Euro. The two areas which I mapped out, which was, of course, the breaking test of the low, which doesn't look like it's playing ball right now, but also the retest of the consolidation slightly above us, kind of like an area of supply, similar to what we've got going on USD, DXY, sorry. Test that area around 1.04, and then we see a big continuation to the downside. So overall for the USD markets, still very bullish on dollar. Markets like this, EURUSD, I do have a very bearish bias. As long as we don't start disrespecting structure, this is the last major lower high. So in theory, I wouldn't turn bullish on Euro until we take out this high. I mean, of course, could be some bullish opportunities, but in terms of my longer term swing bias, we need to take out this high for me to completely change that direction. So yeah, I'm still very bearish on Euro. Looks like we have just about closed above that low there. So I wouldn't be surprised if we do see a bit of a lower time frame correction and continuation back to that next zone. And then maybe we look at the lower high forming from there. And then we get the continuation to the downside. But overall, pretty bearish on EURUSD, expecting more downside. And targets for this week would just be back at the lows. And then, of course, we can talk about low prices. We've got 1.02 just below us. 1.01 not far away as well. So very bearish on EURUSD. Pound USD, same thing as well. Looks like we pull back into a really healthy zone. I think this is a great place to be looking for some shorts. As you can see, price support taking as resistance. Lovely rejection there. How are we looking on the hourly chart? Okay, nice wick there this morning. Seeing some momentum straight away from that hourly candle. Still a very strong close. We need to see how momentum sustains because it's still very early on in that candle formation. But it's come back to a really healthy area. I do think we can see a lot of downside from here. And of course, if that does play out, the area I'm expecting pound to get to is back down at this level of support, the next big daily level, so to speak, at 1.234. So yeah, very bearish on pound USD, expecting more downside, just a retest of the zone in theory, really. Again, if I zoom out, look at the larger structure, this is our last lower high. So again, in theory, even if this level doesn't hold, we could still have a bigger pullback, form another major lower high somewhere, and still see that continuation to the downside. So very bearish on pound. For me to change that bias, I do need price to effectively break through that high. And if I quickly go to the daily chart, we have broken through a longer term trend line as well, which is another indication that the trend is changing. So again, long term trend line first, second, almost third test. We were in that fourth area for potential bounce. Didn't hold in hindsight there. So again, more evidence that price is likely to keep falling. So yeah, pretty bearish on pound, and it has pulled back into a nice area where I do think shorts look good. So I'll definitely keep an eye out on that. Dollar CAD, same old with this one. Not too much of an update since we last spoke because all we've been doing is moving sideways. So it's still very much stuck in a range there. But again, the long-term bias is still very bullish with dollar CAD. I'm still looking for a push to 1.46, which is back at resistance up here. I'm still looking for a move into that area. Broke through very significant levels of structure here as well. So that becomes the next level I expect price to get to. So what I'm looking for dollar CAD is just pullbacks and then more upside. In terms of the way I'm expecting those opportunities to come around, there's kind of two ways I'm looking at. Either price just remains bullish because there's a lot of momentum in the market right now. Of course, we're in a bit of a pause right now, but momentum could definitely spill over to the upside, and you could be looking at a breaking test to continue that momentum back to highs. Or maybe price goes for a bit of a breather, have more of a major pullback, find the next high low further down, which is what I'll be looking for. Preferably the retest of the high here. We do have the 0.618 of the fib in that region, I'm pretty sure. Yes, we do. So this is kind of where I'm looking at. If we can have a bit move to the downside, collect some more buyers, and then yeah, that'll be a trade where I can sit in, hopefully take it back to highs, and if I'm lucky, back to 1.464, which is that weekly level we just mentioned. So yeah, dollar CAD, very bullish on as well. Either we break the high of the consolidation and get some retest after, or we have a bigger pullback, then continue. But overall, very, very bullish on dollar CAD. If you take a look at Aussie dollar, this one very bearish, but of course expecting a pullback at some point because pound USD looks like we've had a pullback. Euro USD looks like we've had a pullback. Aussie dollar, maybe we're seeing some signs of pullback could be coming in, but not much really. I've spoken about a few areas where I do think pullbacks will look good towards, and then we can start speaking about some shorts again. The market is still very, very bearish on multiple time frames. As you can see, the successive lower highs, as we can see here, high over there, lower high, so on and so forth. Of course, even you can include prior highs as well. So the goal is, the plan is, I'm all over the place. There we go. The plan is to find the next lower high in this bearish sequence and keep looking to short. I am expecting some key daily, weekly lows to be taken out very, very soon. And we're very close to doing that. If I drag this across, you can see we're very, very close to doing that. So what would be a nice opportunity is if Aussie dollar can have that pullback before we take out that low. Because if we do take out this low, I do expect to see a bigger pullback at some point. Because the market is very bearish. We've been falling for quite a while. We're definitely a little bit overstretched to the downside. So I do think a bigger pullback at some point is on the cards. And if we go and take out this wick low here, I think that could trigger that bigger pullback. So there'll be a lot of liquidity underneath that low. And maybe that could trigger some buyers entering, some sellers taking their profits, and we might see a bit of a reaction. So what would be nice is if we don't take that low, have a pullback, and then take advantage of the move that does go and break out that low. So that would be a nice opportunity. Same thing with New Zealand dollar as well. Except this one's got a bit more space to work with. So if again expands the daily chart, there's a key low here on the daily / weekly time frame. which again, I'm expecting price to break through. Not as close as Aussie dollar. So again, hope we can get a pullback at some stage. We're looking very, very corrective right now, which again is a sign of a market that is slowing down, running out momentum. Could be looking at a pullback at some stage. I do like this area here. Nice brief consolidation. There's a smaller region just below us here as well. And we do have a very big zone up here as well, which would be nice for a retest. But either one of these areas could provide that next bearish leg, that next lower high, and see us continue a lot lower. So if I just clone this, mouse is very sensitive. But yeah, any one of these areas could push us to the downside, and we can see the continuation, but still very bearish and longer term, looking for that wick low to be taken out at 0.551. So that is definitely the bias there with New Zealand dollar, but equally, the market is still very, very stretched to the downside. Such a big move. So again, at some point, I do expect a pretty big pullback to form, and I'm guessing once we take out those lows there, maybe these lows too, that's when we'll see the bigger retracement happen. But for now, just looking for continuation of that bearish momentum there, pullback, and another drop. And in terms of gold, we've seen not much really, bit of downside since we last spoke, but nothing which is getting me excited. So overall, I'm pretty quite neutral on gold. Long term, still very bullish, of course. Looking for a push back to highs, but at the moment in time, I'm not seeing an opportunity to trade that apart from the low down here. As I said the past couple of weeks, I wouldn't mind getting long here. Of course, wait for my confirmations and wait for there to be a good trade. But this is very much where I'm looking to take advantage of some gold longs. Anything else just kind of looks like a big range to me. So equal highs there, equal lows here roughly, and the market's kind of just dancing in between. So I can't get a good read of the price action for gold. And again, if something's not looking clear to me, I'm not going to trade it. And that's essentially where I'm at with gold. So gold, I'm just waiting for more candlesticks to print, more information, and hopefully it does clear itself out in the next kind of few days, maybe week or two. Again, no rush. I trade a lot of markets, so whichever market looks good is where my attention will be at. Gold right now doesn't really have my attention because it just looks like a big range to me. And in terms of silver I do like though. Silver I do like. I can get good read of silver and what silver's trying to do, and hopefully what it will do. But again, I'm still looking at this as being a last major bullish leg from that low to the high. I'm treating this as a pullback, maybe some type of bull flag correction. Looks like we're forming a bit of a double bottom at this area. So if we can start breaking some structure to the upside, let me get rid of this. Start forming some higher highs and higher lows, that'd be brilliant. And then I'll be looking for the next opportunity to get into a trade and trade that to the upside. My plan is to try and catch the higher lows on the way up. So yeah, silver looks pretty good. It looks like we're forming the low. I actually missed this trade here from last week. It occurred during my hours off the chart, so I wasn't there to take it, but not too worried because my bias for silver is a push back to the high there, and then most likely will be an opportunity on the way there. So as long as I can catch that one, hopefully I can catch that one and ride that to the upside. But yeah, still very bullish on silver. Looking at this as a nice double bottom. So what I'm waiting for is a break of that neckline, break of that structure, and some higher lows to follow afterwards, which again I have to be patient for. But yeah, that's kind of really where I'm at with USD.